Thank God, wherever you are, we want to thank God for this glorious opportunity given to us. Again, is well a good opportunity. I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Okay, privacy. Okay, there's something going on. Okay, you are again watching here live. I want to say you're most welcome. It can be on privacy. Um, that's what all we do. Say you're most welcome. Welcome to again to the community engagement, and I want to say you're most welcome to this virtual time talking about the issues of disability, making the church disability friendly. And I want to say, wherever you are most welcome to this community engagement. And we talk about teaching of human rights to every individual. Probably wherever you are in the world, you're most welcome. And here we talk about the rights of people uh, that have been discriminated against, people who probably who feel marginalized in our society, and you can talk about the rest of it. But again, today, like we are planning, probably planning the coming summit and the community engagement global mission and collaborative partners and the life empowerment network is a kind of inclusive summit. The summit is going to be talking about disability rights and how can the church and the community probably be connected to uh, the people with disability, making their community, the workplace, disability friendly. That is one of the crucial topics during this summit. And I want to say to all of us, those of us who are listening, when we talk about, people are making themselves, bounding themselves. Sometimes there are times that you you want to you want to disregard the people with disability because you think that well they don't deserve the good things. And I want to say, you're welcome. And every time we come on this show, we showcase probably the facts about how people are treated in their communities, and disability rights uh, are human rights, and human rights is for everyone. So if we express this, the church must not be a place where we are not making it the church disability friendly. In other words, to be disability friendly means, well, there are some uh, accessibility, the rule, the steps, the kings. That there are different ways that we can make the church disability friendly, and we going to be turning into our time with Tommy Rivers, if he will be in the presence, and others who will be talking more about uh, the fact that we cannot propagate the word of human rights and say, well, we are propagating human rights, or we're advocating for the right of people, and forget about the people with disability, or probably who are physically challenged. So today, when we dealt with it the last time, we talk about the issues of disability and how can people with disability be respected in our society. Looking at cross sections of different human rights actors. We understand that, like yesterday, Liberia and other part of West Africa was actually shut of internet situation fluctuating. That was a kind of network problem in almost in West Africa, not only Liberia. So I want to make that clear. So you can also understand from that perspective that we cannot deal with the word human rights. We at the community engagement level, we believed that rights and responsibility must go together. And if it must go together, then of course we must be not probably segregating, probably trying to talk about it and not applying it. Sometimes we talk about it and we pass, and we don't really respect the people with disability. And beside them having the greatest understanding, or beside or having the greatest understanding of why they should be respected in society, is that the level of understanding. There are people that don't understand why we must promote people's rights, why they have rights, but they don't have responsibility. Some of us feel that we are not responsible for some of the action we take, and so but we take those actions based upon the maybe level playing field, or probably maybe because of the flexibility of the laws in our different countries. But again, disabilities rights, I like the disability right act here in the state, and, give people the right. There should be no discrimination. So in developing countries, like Liberia and other countries that are stay yet behind, even here in America, there are some churches that have not even make the church disability friendly. That's what we're going to be talking about in the summit. How can we increase our mobilization? How can we increase our awareness? Because you see, the community engagement, our global mission with this community engagement program is actually talking about connecting the church, connecting the community, connecting the religious organizations, bringing this thing to the community, probably taking contracts from people, probably like-minded organization, and coming up, to make sure that our community uh, are served equally, probably propagating the rights of people and the rights of every individuals or communities, not only looking at our own position in wherever we are in the world, or our location, but looking at the fact that there are people, like I talked to Brother Iverson, Erico, yesterday, uh, went to Uganda, places that seems to be not comfortable. You see, sometimes we leave our comfort zones and go to places that we never thought we would ever go. And you see, to be a mentor, to be a coach, to be someone who, it's that's a lot of work and effort that people are playing, and we want to thank God for all of that, all of us who are playing our roles. And when we come to where we are today, I want us to begin to look at the reality of how this whole thing will come to disability rights. They have rights, and if why it is true that when we talk about disability right, equality to equal employment, then there's a little talk about it, right? But again, there are instances where people with disability or who are physically challenged could be considered in positions that they are capable of serving. The fact that they have the not being physically uh, capacitated doesn't stop and should not stop them from accessing public or private facility, or something that they would have access if they were well. So if we would access, put yourself into that position. So making the church disability friendly, connecting the church to the community, or making the church disability friendly, it's a kind of summit to be frank with all of us, those of us who understand what it means to be a pastor, what it means to be an advocate. Now we're not talking about just advocate, because people that advocate, but they have been advocating for the past years, and because they could not get anything from the advocacy, they jump into politics. They jump into politics. So the question for all of us, as we look at what happens in the world today, in especially in developing countries, that the rights of people with disability is not respected. Wheelchairs, some of them don't even have wheelchairs. Probably there's no push. So the ability to change our society, the ability to change our thoughts, our emotions, and whatever we do here, wherever you are in the world, it depends on us. So we don't move. We are not driven by the passion we have. We are less driven because, well, we don't have the interest. It's almost like someone who don't have the interest in you, or in what you're doing. Well, they don't just have the interest. You can push them to have the interest. All you need to do is to want to continue to pray and move on with what you're doing. Because I tell you what, nothing else can push this thing as a teamwork. I can talk about it. So the community engagement is to motivate and begin to empower communities, so that they can see that they are responsible for some of the things that is not being applied in our communities. Leaders from the House of Representatives, pastors and religious leaders, so that we can see that we are responsible for some of the action that we are not taking. And we also hold civil society responsible. It is a bound responsibility of civil society. And people who are fighting trafficking and trying to play their role, it is our bound responsibility to do whatever we think God is pushing us, or we have the passion to do. We cannot do it probably, except probably we push ourselves, like we pushing ourselves to do towards something to do, because no matter how beautiful that thing look like, or how easy, or how flexible, or maybe it's not hard to do, we cannot do it except we go towards it. So again, I'm so chilled, and I want to thank God for the opportunity given to us again to be here to share, looking at the rights and responsibilities of every person, to look at the fact that disability rights cannot be marginalized, cannot be overlooked, probably because if you come in the state, you see that they have their lesson plates, they have a mark, probably places that if you go to those places, well, you see you're not in that condition. Your car cannot be parked in a place where it is spelled out. Well, you can see that is being placed, that space for the people with disability. So if you're not disabled, you can't park your car in that area. So how can Liberia, how can other countries begin to look at those situations and see, well, okay, the fact that many of these people are not actually physically challenged, or probably is that many people don't have cars, like in Africa. So we think in our mind that we don't have people with disability. So even if it was one space in that parking lot, we must have probably a place there for people with disability. It's not only people who have handicap, one legs or whatever. It's disability may affecting the eyes, or probably hands, or you can name them. So we need to be taken in that direction. as we upgrade our lesson plates in different countries in Liberia, and then make sure that looking at the wheelchairs, if we provide wheelchairs, make sure that the places of walk, maybe you have to climb the steps, or probably you have elevator, so that person comes in from the front, drive or ride in the wheel, go towards the church and climbs out on the in the building, and when he or she enters the building, he sees the elevator to go upstairs. That's making it disability friendly, because they don't have any stress. They move from, well, from down, they see the steps and the roll up with the wheelchair, getting up there, and getting in the building and be able to access different part of the building to wherever they go. They don't have to get down from the wheelchair. Okay, so then you're making the office, actually the places, your community disability friendly. Your home, probably, we might not be talking to home mostly, but in most cases, if you have people who will visit you, and if you know that you have people who visit you and you have people who in that condition, then of course you have to make, they have the portable one you can buy. They just bring it in the house, and every time people coming to visit you, you can put it down, and that person will just, you don't have to hold them up and pull them. And looking at cars, like buses, and like if you come to the states, you see that, well, they don't have to tow the guys or the lady who is on her wheelchair. They just drive into the bus. Disability friendly. So if we don't have buses like that, then of course, in developing countries, we can stay talk about it, and while, well, you have things going on all over the world. Okay, and those are things we're talking about. So the people with disability need to have these accessible mobilization, the mobiles and things that they go, the transport to be transported with must be accessible. So that is not an option. Human rights is not an option. So if human right is not an option, that is our motto. So then, if human right is not an option, it's not optional. In other words, you have to make it the possibility for it to happen depends on the House of Representatives, depends on the people of a certain locality, the country. It depends on the church. Well, that maybe the church is in a little low building, and the church want to take on a project making the church disability friendly. So that church might not have the money to make disability friendly, because, well, it takes some time. You got to buy those stuff. But there are churches that are stay in the capacity. They might not think that they have the money. Sometimes they can just request for it and stay. It happens. So making the church disability friendly. The summit is coming up, and one of the topics we're going to be talking about is making the church disability friendly. So the community engagement, as we engage our partners, as we engage people with like minds, people who understand what it means when they were in that condition, how would it feel if they went to an office, and, well, they have to maybe wait for people to take them over, well, or else they go to an office and they just ride straight in the office, and then the elevator take them up, or probably they go straight into the place they are going without any problem. So because they have rights, the responsibility not to talk about it much only, but the responsibility is to make sure that they protect themselves from some of the things that will harm them. Uh, they make sure that they assess whatever thing that is given to them, they use it wisely. Make sure that, well, they make sure on their own rights, probably they talk about themselves. But again, um, right and responsibility goes together. I might be the one that he needs, okay, but I'm voiceless. But then probably they give me some things to start using, my responsibility is to protect and to keep that thing. My responsibility is to make sure to not buttress in the effort of the organization only, but to make sure that those things that were given to us or to me as a person who actually were in need of it, we make sure that we protect it and make sure that we take responsibility of our community, the disability community, disabled community, this group of 77. Um, we cannot, probably taking the responsibility from the people. Why it is true that uh, they might not be able to handle everything because, well, of their physical condition. But again, they have to be empowered so that they can take over, uh, building their capacity to the place where they are able to take, a position, even in our government, in our House of Representatives. Why you think so? Because they are human. They must have place in every sector. So that's what we're talking about when we talk about making connecting the church to the community summit and this whole thing about connecting, making the church disability friendly and the community. So let it be driven by not only our mindset or understanding that this is what we need to do despite the physical condition of these people. They need, they deserve it. It is their right. So it's because it's not optional. It becomes a mandatory thing. It becomes something that we must say and do because it's not optional. It's not something that we can say, okay, we can take advantage of, which many people take advantage of based on the nation, based on the people, based on where you are in our society. So disability right cannot be respected as we think because, well, we find ourselves in different situation. People are trafficked, and many times we see people trafficked because of where they found themselves. So we want to say, well, it's always our responsibility and should always be our responsibility as civil rights organizations. We're shooting back up from it. So know your rights and responsibility. We teach about human rights. We want to connect you with your community to make sure that probably if your voice was not heard, how can your voice be heard? So fighting for people rights, promoting people's rights, telling people about their own rights is something that you know have to do with passion. And let us agree that everybody stop talking about their rights. And let agree that probably like the United States Institute, all these places just stop, cease. Nobody talk about it, right? Nobody do any training, nobody do it. Let's see what happens in the next 5 years. Let's see what happens. So, so because it's essential, because it's important, we must talk it, we must act, we must take actions. When you look back and see, the actions that were taking voice, people were sounding their voices, writing petitions, petitioning the government to take actions when it comes to the War Crown Court in Liberia. Now you can see that actions is being taken by a government that feels it's important to do it. So it's all about taking action, no matter what it seems to be. You see, justice. When people talk about justice, then it comes back to our minds. Other people will say, "Well, we don't need to go back to the stop again. Probably we don't need to have these things happen." So when it's to be just, to make disability friendly, the church or the community or the office or the public places. So it means that we are responsible to speak. Okay, and when we don't speak, it's not going to happen. Okay, so we need to come out to say it. We also need to realize that probably saying it, we must know where, when, and how to say it, how to apply it, because there are many nations that are going through this problem of discrimination all over the world. So, but the law must be there. It means must be a law that is domestified, or um, in our own local laws, from the international law. If you look at how women's rights actually have been marginalized, you understand that that's individual problem, but it's a law. Domestic violence is a crime. Human trafficking is a crime. But the fact that those are different situations or events become crime, people still go towards it. So it left with the state to uh, to protect or guarantee the safety of its citizen as regards to the rights. So it's kind of hard to talk about, but again, once the state can realize that this is the data bearer understands, well, the right holders, the people who hold this, actually hold this thing, is for them. We need to make it actually available to them, and if we cannot make it available, then let's talk to them. How can we get down to the round table? So if you cannot make it to the disability, probably making the church or the community disability friendly, how can you come down to the people and explain why? Because that's the right. So civil society needs to be driven by that. We might not be thinking, oh, we don't have a lot of people with disability, and then go back to act to look at the driving aspects of it. In Liberia, you cannot put a guy who, or a lady who is actually have disabled behind the wheel. Well, because we know that probably the man not be able to contain traffic, but with the technology that is now we realize there can be opportunity for that. So let's take a break and come right back. Let's take a break with one of our okay. Actually, human trafficking is real, and if you see something, say something. If you see, well, a man probably passing by and looking at the kids and probably not paying attention, and when you see that person trying to make these children to come back to come closer to them, sometimes you see different people strange in the bus while traveling in the train. You got to take precaution and know who and how they come into your community, because human trafficking is real, and people that traffic almost every day. One more about the people with disability. Sometimes people take advantage of them, and like we saw, we want to say probably may her soul rest in peace, an old lady who were beaten actually to death, and those people responsible must be brought to justice. You see, that's what we talk about disability rights. And she doesn't have hand, probably she have hand, but it's not effective. Legs is not, probably they took advantage of that, call her witchcraft, and well, she ended up in the hospital, and after beating her, half dead. And those are some of the things we're talking about. But She doesn't even have a wheelchair. She doesn't even have a wheelchair. So looking at that situation, probably they might have been giving her those things, and their rights, responsibility to take care of them was not there. I can imagine if she had a wheelchair. I'm not going to say whether the guys would not take advantage, but there would have been probably some level of understanding that we're okay. But that should not be an excuse for people who are decent to look at another person and say, well, they are witchcraft, beaten and physically, and then, well, she no more. Well, want to say they need to be brought to justice. And you know, this is all about our responsibilities as citizens of our country. I was listening to the guys talking constructive. Well, it was not constructive because they talking about the issues of black the current and all that. And sometimes when you look at people discussing, then you understand where they come from. So you don't have to discuss with them. Just tell them, well, they have to be positive. Positive thing about Liberia, because because the next government did not really made it to the election. So if anyone else come to power, what a 1 month, what a 2 months they have stayed in power, we can put everything on them to say uh, they have to or they must have done they're responsible for everything that's happening within these 2 months. So that is some of the things that we talk about. People must be positive in their pursuit, anything they are pursuing, anything you're talking about, anything that you're producing, any thoughts, any change, any development, from the level of yourself to the level of your friend to the level of every community, every level you reach. So when things are not going the way they should go, sometimes it become a problem in a community. It become an issues that we can keep not discussing these issues because people may pay less attention to us. But that does not matter. How many person will listen to? I'm not creating content if I want to do business. Like I'm saying, you got to pay me my money because I need to eat. We're going to be talking more about that, but this is a time to talk about the issues of disability being disability friendly, and we need to begin to talk about these issues and apply it practically. She was beaten and she died by people who felt that she was a witchcraft. So, and they were not looking; they were fighting spiritual pain. I mean, they were fighting a physical war. In fact, they were fighting spiritual war with physical weapons. Because that should have been a spiritual war by prayer or by something can help her if she was ready demonic on a demonic attack or was a witchcraft. And that's why Paul said we're not wrestling against flesh and blood, but principalities and powers. So when people come against people based upon their perception or how they see the next person to be, and somebody was talking, and I watched one of the video on Facebook. Uh, this lady, right, her own best friend, praying along with her, going to the same meetings, but it was the same lady that was praying with her, going to the same meeting, taking her to churches. It was the same lady that stopped her blessing. So, but we look at the witchcraft, we look at the person who might not even be witchcraft, but they look like witchcraft because you look beautiful, you look handsome. you might not look the witchcraft. So she disabled, you beat her to death. You're not a witchcraft. So witchcraft, I'm just not. It's a sin. It's rebellion. It's a sin of witchcraft. But if you even look at the face of the person and just look at them because they look ugly, the old lady come to the door in the morning or passing in the community because the way you see her or the way you see him, so you call them witchcraft because the way they appear. But the people who right near you, so we can change our mentality. Okay, we don't need to fight them. if we found out that they are possessed with some demonic influence, or while they are carrying something with them, pray for them, rebuke it, because that is spiritual weapons, that is spiritual war. But when we take sticks to beat them, then we're fighting spiritual war with physical weapons. So I want to pray for you guys who did that, and may justice be fairly measured, because this is about the kingdom, and this is about equality for all. Okay, the fact that she found herself into that situation, she didn't beg for it. The fact that somebody found themselves into a situation where they are disabled, they didn't beg for it. They deserve all the respect. So if you treat the people with disability the way you feel, and you think, well, okay, you're doing well as a nation or as a community, we can begin to accept the fact that we are responsible to advocate, talk to people, and we I pray to God in the next 2-3 months. There are some things that we're hoping to happen, um, so that we can begin to expand and visiting, go towards some of the things we're talking about after the disability. The summit. This is about action. This is about pursuing, but you must be able to do it legally, because it's not something that you can just do like that. We believe in God for good things to happen, but it doesn't happen when we don't put time to it. So I want to say to those of us who are listening to the sound of my voice, making the church disability friendly, or I talked to some cross sessional pastors, I talked to some, we still have some time to talk, but within the state, it's not something you can talk about. It's already on the board. It's been there. You can see it. Only for churches that have not realized that they are not applying it in their churches, because they feel they don't have the money to do it, or probably the feel that nobody comes to the church with disability. So if the church does not, then the church is saying, we don't want no disability people here. That can be the next word. That seems to be silent. So if you don't make your church disability friendly, you are telling the people with disability, we don't need you in the church. It's simple. Because, well, they know that if they see the sign, they know that they are welcome. They know that uh, they are important in society. That's what makes them to know that they're important in society. Because they see, oh, when they go to offices, they see that, oh, they have a small paperwork going down to the office. Those things are being placed in Liberia. Some offices, I already doing it. And we need to just double up and make sure that we have more advocacy, more mobilization, and buttress government effort. So in our communities, we can say, uh, let agree that we have three disability people living, or physical challenged people living in our communities, and our community is not accessible. So how can the community dwellers advocate for those people, making that community to be accessible? They can only do it uh, with the help of the civil society and the government, but they must be responsible, rights and responsibility. You see, many people, the government does not know everything that is going on in your community. The representative does not know much about some communities. Now, the representative might not even know some of the things that you might know about what is going on with people with disability in your community. So you can formulate your own projections, project, or something, propose something that will uniquely say, like we're talking about raising more awareness against this fire situation. Okay, and Sherman have a very good plan. He has people there already, I think, and those are initiatives that individual organizations can take in order to reach people who are discriminatively put aside only because they don't have the ability to move, the physical strength to move forward. And with all these things that we think about, the fact remains that we are still into a level of being privileged to speak on behalf of people. And human rights movement in the world does not only prove, our guilt, does not only stop us in the middle of our dreams. It gives us a push. It causes us to drive the passion, no matter what we neglected, no matter what we rejected. In any case, we are not being terrified. Never will we be terrified by anything. Why? Because of the passion. But let our passion be driven and take us to the place that, well, we never think about. So when you are in that situation as a person who physical challenged, um, you feel disenchanted. You feel people neglect you when you drive or walk to the church or try to ride your way to the church and see that you don't have anything to claim, and then you have to call people. Oh, we got somebody outside here. Somebody will call people and say, oh, we got somebody outside here. Instead, well, and just came to the church and just roll. If your weed is not electric weed, you can just roll your weed little by little and collect in the church, and the usher you in. Or you have the usher there pull the chair up, but they pull it up a place, not coming to pull it up with some level of strength, and we're going to be demonstrating it next week. So during this time, probably we have a few people next week talking about the disability rights and how can children whose parents are disabled be prioritized for their education. Let's agree that those are their rights, right? The fact that their parents, the mother or father, whatever it is disabled. They are not disabled, but they're able to go to school. So in order to buttress the effort of every individual who are disabled, what can these organizations, the civil society, the government do in order to make sure that every disabled parents, child, every disabled parent's child or children must be prioritized for support, for something, to be done for them because of their inability to make it happen. So you got to make them to feel that they are important in our society. That is the bottom line. That is the bottom line. Think about yourself. Whether you were in that situation, no matter where you are, you're not going to be the same. Probably building your capacity in every aspect. You're not going to be the same. So let's talk about it and let's move on to the next level of grades of our nations, and speaking to people who are not just fortunate, speaking to people who are fortunate, speaking to people who understand what it means to be disabled, so that we can expound the work of God, so that we can understand not only the word of God for our lives, but understand the better understanding of the thing that God is saying to us, the thing that we ourselves want to do, despite our situation, despite the fact that we are called to do whatever God has called us to do. And before that close, I want to encourage those of us who are probably wiggling and dragging up the feet based upon the fact that somebody is intimidating them or causing them not to move forward. Well, moving forward is one thing. You can be marginalized, you can be delayed. There are a lot of hindrances in this area of human rights. So you got to be empowering yourself. You got to understand that you got to do something, yes, to support your own vision. Sometimes people don't trust you, they don't believe in you, and then you want to give up. Because I want to encourage you, because you see, every time we speak of the confidence we have in ourselves. And like here at the, I spoke more time with the redeemed pastor, and he has a very clear mind. And I talked to him on this issue of even the disability of situation. Every church must. You see, let it not be an option. And that's what we say human right is not optional. That is our motto. So if human right is not optional, so then white people will not prioritize the thing that matters. So we need to begin to talk about it. Yes, we need to grow our content. I see content creators. Content creators create contents. Most of them are creating contents to only make money. They are not creating contents to educate people. So people who have been creating content to create educate people are not following them, because if I undress myself right now as a pastor who been on the show talking about this stuff here, you guys, I'm going to have thousands of people in the next 2 hours, man, and it's going to be like crazy, because the pastor naked himself, he going crazy right now. This guy who can preach, the job is. Or probably if you see me kissing another lady, or probably right on the Facebook, and the first time doing that, or that's another content you guys going to be looking at, talking all kind of stuff. Or probably a little girl comes here and say, oh, last of the pastor will make let see his pictures right here. and that's all the content is going to be like. And all you guys going to be looking at this content. I'm going to have a lot of cry in my inbox, but something that has to do with education. And when I look back 2 or 3 years ago, I see now some of the guys who probably you see their picture. I don't know they used to lie or what they used to do, but you see their picture, thousands of people looking at what they are saying, but they were lying to you guys. And that's what people like to see, liars, people who will say something that is not really the truth. It could be almost the truth, even if it is the truth when it comes to the research. But they were doing it, in other words, to trick you or to make you to believe them and follow them. So we go along with these people, and we saw what happened to them. They dropped you in the middle of the day. They drop you. In fact, some of the guys, you spend money with them, give them a lot of money. My advice to all of us, let us begin to pursue the things that will help our children. When we come to the community level, we talk about rights and responsibilities. When we talk about these things, sometimes you think, what is right and responsibilities? The child must go to school. The child has rights, that you treat the child well, but the child is responsible to make decisions that will make you proud as a parent. So we're going to be talking about the right of the child probably next week. The generation we see today, not everybody that got disability just become disabled. In more cases, do your research and see women probably either they got this problem from the husband. They are tired of situation. They could not bear it. When you saw the text yesterday, stop breaking your own heart. Is the text that also support this program today. And as I conclude, we prayed last night about that, right? But prayer is not enough. Actions to be taken. People who breaking their own heart, people who decided to worry about something that they're not going to take to heaven or to hell. If your husband or your spouse is treating you the way they treat you, 2 things you do for yourself: ask God to come into your life, or if you're not a godly person or you don't believe in church, put yourself somewhere and believe that you need to walk out of, sometimes take some time or go to the park, take some time, make yourself happy. Or else you become disabled. So people did not just become. Now, so the community, in other words, this whole summit is not just about talking about the disability, connecting the church to the community. Probably it also has to do with these prevention measures Many of the people who are disabled today, if you do your research in America, you will notice that some of it comes from stress, abandoning the person and leaving and going, and the person don't have a strong mind. They're breaking their own heart every day, or probably somebody you want to pursue, and this person don't have time for you. You just behind this guy here or this lady, and she just playing you low, and you just acting as if she's your God. She's not your God. So, or he's not your God. So you need to relax your mind. It's emotional sometimes. And but you need to think about yourself, because the person is thinking about themselves. They're not thinking about you. They are busy thinking about themselves. They are busy thinking about themselves. So think about yourself. We can only make disability friendly. The community and in our own ways of what we're doing by encouraging ourselves. Sometimes I feel those things come to our mind, all of us. Discouraged in some tiny part of my life, but I choose to be happy because I am in the head and not the tail. I believe in myself. I don't believe in another person for myself. Never will I do. Not if that was the case, man. Brother, I'm telling you, whoever listening to me, you know what I'm supposed to be doing here. You'll be seeing me with this beautiful, you'll be seeing me with somebody all the time. But it's not about that. It's about your focus. It's about who. Don't pull yourself down to become disabled, because you can become disabled in the mind because you have mental illness. That's a disability. When you worried about something that you cannot solve, it becomes your brain, your mind becomes sick because it's too much preoccupied. We're going to be talking more about that in some subsequent meetings. We'll bring some experts and people who understand what it means to be disabled, like our Shirley, Dr. Shirley, and other guys. Let's talk about these things here. Let's educate the public, because people become disabled when the mind, they have mental illness. They are in that state. That is a category of this disability. Not on the physical capacity. No, there are a lot of disabled people based on the actions that were taken by their spouses or probably people around them, their children, the way their children behave, the thing that they expected from their children. That's why we come to responsibility. We're going to be talking more about this next week, Friday. Well, the children are not responding in regards to society, what the parents taught them, or who the parents are in society. The parents will be thinking about how they are leveraging, like some of the guys in the West, not like Africa, our parents really don't have anything to leave with us. The only thing they will say, I'll send my child to school. I was talking to the other guy, he's going to be on the show. I think he's going to be on the second Thursday, either the first or second Thursday. And we were talking about this whole thing in April. And we're talking about insurance. And there are a lot of problems people don't understand. And you're going to be understanding him from that perspective. We're going to be, the community engagement is going to be taking some contracts, we believe, in the ability to do it and to begin to come to our community and give them the information, make them to understand. Why would you be going to people after death and begging them for money, especially the people live in the West? Because, well, some of the guys, we do it because they want the money after the person dies. We're going to be talking more about the promoting, because that is all about the community engagement. We need to engage families about the positive move about their own life, about their children, what would be their children's status after they leave this world. You don't have to think about riches too much. that, well, you might not even have if you kill yourself for that. You need to think about where you are and where you can begin to fight to go to, fight for your kids and make sure that the people around you. So the information needs to be shared. People need to understand that, well, okay, after life, we hear sometimes you spend this time, you don't have money, you're not working, and probably you in this kind of situation. How can you develop your own job? How can you employ yourself? How can you make things happen for yourself? You don't have the money to even rent. You don't have the money to do anything. So it's all about driving us to the level that probably people must be taking initiative in order to change our society. So we want to thank God for today, and want to say to all of us, connecting the church to the community is a friendly summit. It's a connective, connecting to the path to positive people who believed in themselves, people who believe whatever thing they want to believe in. If you look back and see how far you come, and you know that, well, you've been neglected by society, or people don't like you, even your own spouse don't care for you, you've been neglected, it is time for you to say to yourself, well, okay, I agree that you don't like me, I agree that, well, you feel that you are Mr. Big Stuff, or you got everything, you're handsome, and you don't want me around you, no problem. Put your hands up and leave with peace. Let that peace be with you, because you become disabled if you propound, think about it, worry about it. So we can be talking about preventing people from being disabled. Why we talked about making the community, the church, connecting the church to the community in our summit. And this is all about the issues, frustration. People take people money and abuse them and lead their life, make it to be not thinking that there will be nothing. So we want to continue to encourage those of us who are still alive, who still have life into us. The community can be the place where the church need to be more closer. I was talking to Erico. He started from that place. He went to community. He went to houses. He brought the gospel to the people. And, well, in a different environment, like we find ourselves, sometimes you don't just go to people's homes, but at least you can still talk to people and still get people involved into engaging them. The Life Empowerment Network is all about that. So I want you to be encouraged as we've been driving, and we will be driving the boat together. Constructively, I want to say to all the partners, no matter where you are, no matter who you are, God is so faithful. God is giving us the strength, the grace to go through. I hold you in my heart, pray for you, and believe in God for whatever you're going through, or problem you might be thinking about, some negative things, some positive thing about moving forward. I want to encourage you into it, because God is faithful. I will tell people, I've been on this thing for 3 years. Everything I do here been coming from myself. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this to tell you that if you have a passion to do something, don't depend on people, because I'm driving it, and it's becoming a kind of massive stuff. I believe God for that. It is my passion. It is my belief. I don't have to impress people. No. I'm doing it because I have a passion to do it. So I respect all the opinions of everyone who want to be part of what we're doing. Thank you for being part of it. Thank you for being support to all our partners. I want to thank God for you guys, and I say to you that we can drive it together. There can be no time that we can drive or forget about each other, but I think we can be driven by the passion we have. Dr. Speak, Dr. Rear, Dr. Shirley, Sis Jenny, probably Reverend Sarah, wherever you are, God is with you. You just for the rest of your father, we want to say, take condolence in the Lord, man. God bless you guys, and Sis Cynthia, and all of us. Dr. Aroki, Apostle Walker, and all these great people. You are favored, highly favored by God. And never to turn your back on the things that God have called you to do, because that time is coming. He will ask you that you do what I sent you to do. And God bless you guys, man. And I want to say, join us again next week. It'll be the interaction with the rights and responsibility of our children and the responsibility of our parents to make sure they instill some good discipline in the future leader. Thank you, and follow us for more.